Hello guys, welcome here to another episode of Out of Turn 4. My name is Brian. Coming up on the show, we're going to recap NASCAR at Las Vegas. We are also going to talk a lot of news this week. Man, mid-season news. Some big for NASCAR, so you will want to stay tuned for that. We also have a story from Adam Stern that might pique the interest of IndyCar and NASCAR fans. So you'll want to stay tuned. And then, of course, we have our Xfinity and Cup Series Phoenix predictions coming your way. But we kick it off with Las Vegas. Chandler Smith kicked off the weekend with a big victory, probably one of the biggest in his career. And why do I say one of the biggest in his careers? He beat the boss, okay? He officially beat the boss, Kyle Busch, at his home track in Las Vegas. And of course, technically Kyle Busch did finish third in that race, but because of the DQ by Zane Smith, he was declared the second place finisher. Boy, and let me tell you, if anyone was going to beat Kyle Busch, I expected it to be John Hunter Nemechek. So, needless to say, I'm very happy with this result. Congratulations, Chandler Smith in year number 2, full-time. He's looking pretty strong. He might actually be a threat this year. I hope so. We'll, of course, see as the season goes on. On the Xfinity side, Toyota went 2 for 2 to open the weekend, with Ty Gibbs winning his first race of the season at Las Vegas. Of course, it is his 5th win of his NASCAR Xfinity Series career, but it did not come without controversy. He had a run-in with Ryan Sieg, ran into the back of him early. Of course, Ty Gibbs had to start at the rear, and ran into the back of Ryan Sieg, wrecked his race car. Ryan Sieg during the snow, yes, you heard me, a snow delay in Las Vegas. You've heard it all now. So, of course, Ryan Sieg went up to him then and expressed his displeasure. Basically called Ty Gibbs an immature kid, running one of the best seats in the garage. I know some fans have come out and said, oh, silver spoon, and I wouldn't disagree with them, okay? I'm not going to lie to you, I wouldn't disagree. But, all I can say is at first I was on Ryan Sieg's side, but then when we went back racing, Ryan Sieg took matters into his own hands. He must have been told the 54 was up high. He slid his car up high, tried to fence the 54, and instead spun himself out. And if you remember anything about Landon Castle versus Danica Patrick at, I believe it was Phoenix a few years ago, this was a little deja vu. Ryan Sieg wrecks himself. NASCAR disqualified him for not meeting minimum speed prior to that. So you gotta wonder if maybe he was sitting there waiting. But this is just not smart by Ryan Sieg. I mean, look, not for nothing, you're trying to compete for a championship. You gotta focus bigger picture at the end of the day. So I disagree with what Ryan Sieg did. There was a time and a place to do it. And considering you had kind of hinted at it most of the race, and fans were saying on the radio you were hinting at it, just wasn't the right place to do it. Okay, this could result in a suspension. Of course, we have no updates right now as we come to air and as we are recording, so I can't really speak too much to it. But, at first Ty Gibbs was at fault, but sometimes the reaction is worse than the initial action, so that's why I gotta say Ryan Sieg is just as at fault now as Ty Gibbs is. Anyway, we move forward, and someone decided to break up the Toyota party this weekend in Las Vegas. Alex Bowman comes out of nowhere, wins another Cup race, this time at Vegas, his 7th career NASCAR Cup Series win and his first of the season. My first thoughts come to mind. I think we underestimated Hendrick Motorsports this season. Of course, if you recall our season preview show earlier in the year, I had mentioned, oh, Hendrick will not be that strong. They will not be the dominant Chevrolets. Boy, was I off. I was off big time. HMS is off to a hot start. 2 wins in 3 races. If I'm not mistaken, Ross Chastain's car is affiliated with Hendrick. He ran well as well. Probably should have won the race. But I will be the first to admit I underestimated Hendrick Motorsports this season. It looks like so far, early in the year, they're poised to make some noise. And of course, Kyle Busch, after the race, took to his radio and said, it's the same effing guy who backs into every effing win he gets. BS. Basically, I paraphrased it. But yeah, Kyle, quit crying. Okay, you kind of screwed yourself over at the end of the day. Get over it is all I can say. But there's no need for that. Just sore loser. That's all I can say on it. Just a sore loser per usual. As far as Ross Chastain's run, wow. Now keep in mind, this is the guy who got his first National Series win at Las Vegas a few years ago. So it shouldn't come as a surprise to race fans that he was competing at a high level at Las Vegas. Ross Chastain is just a heck of a driver, to say the least. And I'm telling you, I wouldn't be shocked to see him playing for more wins later this year. I mean, Trackhouse, to be honest, has come out of the gates really strong with the next-gen car. They've been really quick. I mean, Suarez last week and at Daytona. Now Ross Chastain at Vegas. It should come as no surprise that both the Trackhouse cars are quick, and both the Trackhouse cars are a threat to win on a week-to-week basis. And I wouldn't be surprised to see that continue as we go through the rest of the year. I mean, Phoenix could be a track I think Suarez could compete at. And I certainly think Ross Chastain... Here's the thing. Ross Chastain has always been a guy to outperform what he's driven. So it shouldn't come as a surprise to fans that he finished 3rd on Sunday. It shouldn't come as a surprise that he almost won the Truck Championship a few years ago. Like I said, none of this should be surprising, is all I can say in terms of this. None of it whatsoever should be surprising, because we all know what Ross Chastain is capable of, and don't be shocked if we do see him in victory lane before season's end. I certainly hope so. I love Ross. I met him at Watkins Glen, not last year, but a few years ago before the pandemic. Very nice guy, high energy guy, and certainly I hope to see him in victory lane. Anyway, moving forward, we're on to the news portion. Here's one we didn't expect. I don't think anybody heard of this team. So let me introduce you to Team Stange Racing. I hope I pronounced it right. Team Stange. They joined the NASCAR Cup Series for 2022 now. And they have signed former F1 driver Tarso Marquez, the Brazilian driver. He drove in F1 back in the late 90s, early 2000s. He will enter in 8 races for the team. The first of which being at Road America 4th of July weekend. He will then race at the Indianapolis Road Course, Watkins Glen, the Coke 0400 at Daytona. He will then return at the Roval, at Vegas, Homestead, and Phoenix. So basically he will run the final 4 road courses of the season and a few ovals. I'm shocked, to be honest. Team Stange, if you remember them, they ran in IndyCar in the 2019 Indianapolis 500 with driver Oriol Servia. And then, of course, what I didn't know is they competed at the ARCA level back in the day with Frank Kimmel. I shouldn't even say back in the day. It was 2016, the latest they were in ARCA. They had Frank Kimmel and John Gustafson splitting the ride back in 2016. Of course, another thing, this is, I believe, the only team based out of Chicago. Is this a potential message that we could be racing in Chicago in 2023? I think this is possible now. But great to see a new team in the field. They will field the number 79. I believe it's another crypto sponsor. I lose track of all of them at this point. So, great to see another team in the NASCAR Cup Series. Great to see. To be honest, though, and as much as I kind of expected a team to form mid-season, but I didn't expect to hear of an F1 driver. I've never heard of Tarso Marquez. You're going to hear that a lot when it comes to random drivers getting called up. But Tarso has not run in 17 years, is something I think I read. He has not raced in 17 years. He's 46 years old. A Brazilian driver. Of course, great to see. I wish Tarso nothing but the best of luck. But again, this is an announcement you kind of got to say with the next gen should have been made in February. Probably should have been made when testing was going on. I imagine Rick Ware Racing will have a hand in this car. Just based on the fact they're going to drive a Ford. Or MBM Motorsports, I don't know, but I expected another team to come along, is all I can say, but what I didn't expect is the driver. So, complete shot out of left field, but great news for the Cup Series. Another thing should I note, the Cup Series, if you wanted to know, the ratings for the Cup Series topped the weekend once again. And this time they beat UNC at Duke, which I'm even shocked they beat that, because I expected that game to be the most watched sporting event of the weekend, but it wasn't. So, signs that the next gen, or Gen 7, is one of the greatest things to happen to the sport of NASCAR, and it continues as we go forward through the rest of the year. And of course, one thing Team Stange has announced, there will be more announcements to come. If I can't put my finger on it, but if you recall what I said when I first talked about this story, I did mention this team ran the 2019 Indianapolis 500, am I right? Could it be that this team is going to enter the Indianapolis 500? We still got, as of today, it's March 8th, we've still got 2.5 months to figure this out. Plenty of time for another team to step up and make a run. Keep in mind, we're struggling to fill the field of 33 is what I've heard. I believe there's 33, 34 right now. So could it be that Tarso Marquez and Team Stange run in the Indianapolis 500 this year? I would say that's a big possibility at this point. If they're teasing more announcements, maybe it's also 2023 we're going to run the full schedule. That's another possibility. But I think based on the fact that this is an IndyCar team that attempted the 2019 500, sat out the 2021, sat out 2021, I think they'll be back in the field in May. That's my prediction. So, again, I was right about Matt Kenseth. If we can go back in time when the pandemic first started, I was correct about Matt Kenseth joining Chip Ganassi Racing back in 2020. But that's about the only thing I've ever been right on. So, take that loosely. I imagine that will be the case. But, again, anything could happen. We'll keep our eyes on this story and update it as need be. Another guy thinking about going NASCAR racing, not now, but in the future, Michael Andretti. Andretti Autosport, he has confirmed that Andretti Autosport's NASCAR debut could potentially be down the road, but unfortunately, don't jump the gun yet. It is still a long ways from happening. It is not in Michael Andretti's near future. And that is, of course, according to Adam Stern, probably one of the great journalists, or he is one of the great journalists in motorsports right now. Whew. It would be great to see Andretti run NASCAR. To be honest, I think he's got a better chance in NASCAR than he does in F1. Why would you join F1 just to throw money away? That's all I can say about Andretti Autosport's F1 chances. You know, I know Marco has wanted to leave IndyCar to find something different. You know, maybe you can field a 98 for Marco Andretti in the Cup Series. You know, maybe Honda in the future can become an OEM. Either that or maybe you can get support from Toyota or Ford. You know, I'd implore Andretti to think about this. This, honestly, I feel like moving to NASCAR would be a better option for Andretti Autosport than moving to F1. I feel like it would be less of a money waster and more of a chance to compete on a weekly basis for points. You know, you guys know I've been very vocal about competing in F1, and needless to say, I'm not backing down from this statement. I just don't think he'd be at all competitive. We don't need another back marker in F1, and I especially would hate to see Colton Herta's career thrown away in F1, but, you know, I'd love to see him pursue his dreams nonetheless. So that's my thoughts on Andretti going potentially to F1. I hope, though, he will seriously consider NASCAR now as opposed to down the road, especially with this Gen 7 car. We've seen how competitive it is, and I feel like Andretti can pick up really quick and become one of the front runners in the sport. All right, we're on to race weekend picks. Let me just be sure I have those up. So again, NASCAR is at Phoenix this weekend. We don't have IndyCar this weekend, unfortunately. Next weekend, IndyCar will be back to running. So the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Phoenix, my prediction is AJ Allmendinger. He's leading the points. This seems like a race Colleague could win, and I think AJ gets the job done at Phoenix International. As far as the Cup Series goes at Phoenix, I think this is Chase Elliott's race to win. I think, you know, Hendrick's on a roll right now. Kyle Larson's already won a race. Alex Bowman's already won a race. I think this is where Chase Elliott breaks through and gets his first win of the season. And it will come at Phoenix Raceway this weekend. Again, sorry for another short episode, guys. Expect that throughout the season until racing really gets going and we get toward the mid-season mark. You'll definitely see more episodes flirting with a half an hour. But needless to say, I want to thank you all for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to tune in tomorrow to No Final Bell. They have a special at 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night, but tune in for the regular episode at 10 a.m. Eastern. Both are on YouTube, and then of course tune in Sunday to Sunday Morning Tinkle. We'll have more news headlines, we'll have more sports, and you won't want to miss what we talk about this week. Of course, Aaron Rodgers just signed a mega deal. I'm sure we'll be talking about that. Calvin Ridley as well. Boy, football season may be done, but the headlines are not. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Tune in tomorrow to the 2 episodes of No Final Bell and Sunday to Sunday Morning Tinkle, and I'll see you then. Till then, goodbye everyone.